Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton. Welcome to today's little ramble about prisons and prisoners. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about, we'll start off with Liverpool Crown Court today. A guy escaped from the dock, believe it or not. His name was Nicholas Bunclark, Bunclark. Bunclark, age 30, who was being sentenced for actual bodily harm, and he was going to prison. And as the judge passed sentence, he leapt out of the dock, vaulted out of the place, and ran through the guards into. Well, he's on the run now, isn't he? He's not exactly a free man. But he's on the run for the time being anyway. It's going to be difficult to maintain your freedom these days everywhere you go. The CCTV cameras. So anyway, that's one less to lock up. Yeah. Well, strange things about prisoners in the dock. There was a prisoner in the dock at Manchester Crown Court, and he kicked off in the dock, started ranting and raving at the judge, and the judge said to the prison officer, staffed by prison officers in them days, not security guards. The judge said to the prison officer, "Officer, use your stave." Well, a stave is one of these, yeah? Yeah, it's a truncheon, yeah? Like that. So the officer took his truncheon out of his pocket, because he had a stick pocket, you know. Took his truncheon out of his pocket and did exactly what the judge told him to do, except he hit him straight over the bonds, split all his head open, blood pouring out the side of his head, and the guy falls to the floor. And the judge shouts, "I meant hit him on the hands." Well, a bit late then, wasn't it? Yeah. So these things happen in the docks, you know. I mean, you're not expecting it, are you? I was a dock officer at Manchester Crown Court, and there was a guy in there. Seemed like a decent enough guy to me, you know. He was, and I wasn't unfriendly, you know. I was reasonably, although you were there to make sure they don't do what this other guy did, run off, you know. Basically, he was telling me when the court was in recess, you know, was sat down behind the court telling me that he started off the case. He owned a series of scrap metal yards in Manchester, and he'd been charged with VAT fraud and tax evasion and all sorts of stuff. And he'd got a really expensive barrister. He said when he started off, the case was going on and on and on. He said when he started off, he was a millionaire. He said, "I've just had to sell my Rolls Royce." He said, I can't continue without the barrister." He said, "But it's costing me like £2,000 or £3,000 a day." And it had been going on for about 3 or 4 weeks, this case. He eventually got not guilty. He got not guilty, but he didn't have any money when he'd finished. Yeah, that's the way it goes. I was a dock officer at the Old Bailey once. Yeah, I went up there, and I don't know, they were short of staff at Brixton, so the Brixton prison usually manned the Old Bailey. Yeah, so I went up and did dock officer at the number 1 court at the Old Bailey. And the night before I was dock officer, I went out with a gang, a group of jailers, and it wasn't a drinking contest, but I was fit at the time, really fit. I was running marathons, and I was really, really, you know, on form, you know. So I went out into London, and I managed 12 pints of Guinness in 3 hours. Seriously, I don't know how the hell I did it. But when I got back to the digs, we were staying at a place called Spring Gardens, which is near Marble Arch. And I thought, I'm a bit the worse for wear here. I said, so I don't want to be late, because if I'm late as the dock officer, then there's going to be trouble. So I thought, I know what I'll do. I must have been delusional, which is not unusual for me, by the way, but I must have been delusional, because I decided that I'd get dressed ready to go and go to bed in my uniform, which I did, except when I woke up in the morning, I looked like I'd been sleeping in it. It was covered in fluff from the bed. I did the full lot, boots on the lot, shirt, tie, all in bed. Well, I must have been mad. I was a mess the following morning. It took me ages to try to brush all this fluff off. You should have seen the judge looking at me, I have to say. That officer looks like he slept in his uniform. Yeah. The dock officer at the Old Bailey. It's quite a place, that. The cells, the holding cells. When you look at the Old Bailey, you see the dock where the prisoners are standing. At the back of the dock, there's a door, and it goes to a set of steps that go down. When you get to the bottom of the steps, you're virtually in the lockup, because they could take you straight down there and bang you into a cell. Seriously. It's all right, I mean, for the staff. I mean, not so good if you're getting down there and getting banged in. But that's where they would have put the Cray twins and all that. That's where all the big trials go. That's where Dr. Crippen was. In the docks. I think the docks are run by security staff now. Everything's gone down the pan, hasn't it? All the good gigs are gone. All the jailers are doing now is turning the key. Turnkeys, yeah. Right. Alright, well, so anyway, yeah. Little incident at Liverpool Crown Court today. Nicholas Bunclark, 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 aged 30, has escaped from the dock and he's on the run. So if you happen to meet him, which I doubt it, unless you're in Liverpool, if you happen to meet him, wish him well, eh? Right, I'm going to commit another one of those Harry Carey's. Yeah, that's to do with destroying a song. Don't forget to get my book, folks. Yeah, audio book's good. Larry's been listening to that. He likes it, I believe. Yeah, it's doing all right. Could do better. Buy a copy of my book, folks. Here we go. The Song Dinger returns. Sounds like For Whom the Bell Tolls, doesn't it? Ask not for whom the bell tolls. The bell tolls for this song, which is an Irish song, yeah, because I believe people did like the other one I did, Kevin Barry. Well, this is the Irish Rover, and I've got a recording of this by the Dubliners. So here we go. If you were resting in peace, not totally, of course, but if you were just sitting comfortably, it's gone now, isn't it? Here it comes. I'm going to try with this one, so please forgive me if I fail. On the 4th of July, 1806, we set sail from the sweet cove of Cork. We were sailing away with a cargo of bricks for the Grand City Hall in New York. There was wonderful craft, she was wigged fore and aft, and oh, how the wild wind drove her. She stood several blasts, she had 27 masts. They called her the Irish Rover. We had 1 million bags of the best Sligo rags. We had 2 million barrels of stone. We had 3 million sides of old blind horses' hides. We had 4 million barrels of bones. We had 5 million hogs and 6 million dogs. 7 million barrels of porter. We had 8 bales of old Nanny Goat tales in the whole of the Irish Rover. There was old Mickey Coot, who played hard on his flute when the ladies lined up for a set. He was tooting with skill for each sparkling quadrille through the clanters and fluttered and bet. With his smart archy talk he was cock o' the walk, and he rolled the dames under and over. They all knew at the glance when he took up his stance. Then he sailed on the Irish Rover. For a sailor, it's always a bother in life. It's so lonesome by night and by day that he longs for the shore and a charming young whore who will melt all his troubles away. All the noise and the rout, swilling pothill about, for him the torment's over. For the love of a maid he is never afraid. An old salt from the Irish Rover. We had sailed several years when the measles broke out and the ship lost its way in the fog, and that whale of a crew was reduced down to 2. 'Twas myself and the captain's old dog. Then the ship struck a rock. Oh Lord, what a shock! The bulkhead was turned right over, turned 9 times around, and the poor old dog was drowned. That's the end of the Irish Rover. Well, I don't think that's going to sail again, do you? I think we've sunk it. Thank you very much. Tales from the Jails with John G. Sutton.